Hi, Ray here. I'm glad you could join me. This morning, I woke from a dream where I was on the street and I noticed a couple walking along who I decided made for an interesting subject or subjects. And in my hands, I had a Nikon Z9 camera. And the thought crossed my mind, like it was surprising that I'd somehow gotten a hold of this new flagship Z series camera before it's been released to the general public. But that aside, I had but a moment to frame the shot, so I pretended to be focusing on something else, and the couple continued to walk into the frame from my left, which is my predominant eye, my focusing eye, and I pressed the shutter in burst mode. But of course, with the electronic shutter on the Z9, it was completely silent. Presumably I'd turned off the faux shutter sound. So there was only the optical alert from the lines around the image area. See, I've been doing my homework in anticipation of my Z9 arriving. So I know already that function release timing indicator is accessed through D13 in the menu, where you can choose from off and 3 options, including a brief blackout, and that's strange since it's a heralded feature of the Z9, the blackout-free EVF. Or you can choose lines all around or just on the left and right. In my dream, I'd chosen Type C. The Fantasy Z9 focused on the eye of the nearest dream person, even though they were at an oblique angle, just like in the teasers. Okay, so much for my dream camera. On to reality. We got an early Christmas present from Nikon in the form of firmware updates for the Z50, Z5, Z6, Z7 cameras, and the Nikkor 70-200 f2.8 lens, and the WR1 remote controller. I was pretty chuffed. Honestly, I wasn't expecting any more updates for my Z6s, but here we are, 3 years after the release of these mirrorless cameras from Nikon, with quite significant updates. I'd say on par with 3.0, which brought us support for CF Express Type B, dog and cat tracking detection, improved functionality of subject tracking autofocus, available when auto area autofocus is selected for autofocus area mode, and the addition of subject tracking autofocus initiated via the F1 and 2 button on the camera, or F1 or F2 button on the lens. 3.4.0 brings us added support for FTZ2 mount adapters and Nikkor Z 24-120 f4s lenses. Flicker is less likely to appear in the display during filming when N-Log or RAW footage is recorded to external HDMI video recorders at low light levels. This is a welcome fix. It's something that's bedeviled my filmmaking since the day I started testing my Animus Ninja 5 with the Z6. And the problem showed up at seemingly random ISO settings, but I've steered clear of ISO 4000 in particular. It's been just unusable. I'll be redoing my tests to see what improvements we get here. So we also get improved eye detection performance for auto area autofocus and wide area autofocus large. They've increased the refresh rate for the focus point displayed during face eye detection and subject tracking autofocus, improved face eye detection performance and the visibility of subjects in pictures taken using an optional flash unit, and they fixed the following issues, where the camera would sometimes stop responding when auto was selected for set picture control in the photo shooting menu, and the camera would sometimes exceed the value selected for ISO sensitivity settings, maximum sensitivity in the movie shooting menu. Anyway, I've done some brief testing, making Amanda run around the garden for science and our elucidation. Right off the bat, we can see improvement in eye acquisition and focus tracking in general. The new firmware improves the distance at which the eye is detected. I mean, that was never that critical. The eye and face are going to be in focus at distance, even with a wide aperture, but It's what people wanted to see. So there it is. I'm not sure if I'm seeing a huge difference in acquisition when the subject goes in and out of the frame. I was waving the camera around like a maniac here, but again, it finds the eye quicker. Now, I've been telling everyone not to expect too much in the way of trickle-down technology from the Z9 to older cameras. They don't have the processing power, etc. But did we just see that? Considering the original Z cameras, like my 6s, don't have the dual X-Speed 6 processors built into them, like the second generation cameras, Z6 II and Z7 II, but this update obviously did something substantial as far as eye acquisition goes, and tracking is stickier. Kudos to Nikon for giving us early adopters of their Z cameras, something for our loyalty. They've also promised to have 30 Nikkor Z mount lenses out by March 2022. That might include the Nikkor Z 24mm, that might be DX, the 26mm, maybe FX, a 12 to 28mm, again, maybe DX, 85, now will that be the 1.2 that everyone's wanting and expecting? A 400mm, maybe f4, 500mm, maybe f4, and an 800mm, 5.6, and a 200 to 600mm zoom. There's some question marks on those specs from the rumor mill, but whatever ends up with the blue stripe of released, I think is going to be welcomed. Right now we have 24 plus the 2 teleconverters, so we can look forward to 6 additional lenses in 2022, I guess. I'm wondering what those super tellies are going to retail for. And that 100 to 400mm f 4.5 to 5.6 VRS announced alongside the Z9 is also disturbing my dreams. We've heard a lot about the deep learning behind the brain that drives the Z9. I wonder how deep the learning will be on this end. There's a lot of research going on in terms of machine-human integration. I hear Facebook is in on that. What company would you trust to integrate with your brain? Seems like Nikon marketing has gone into mine. Anyway, I just wanted to catch up on the news. Nikon is not resting on their laurels, and contrary to modern myth, Nikon does have its share of laurels to rest on. And while we're waiting for the Z9 release, and again, ignoring the rumors of delay, Nikon has given us something to help us get that shot in real time. So, take care of yourselves. Cheers. Sweet dreams. And we'll see you later.